This video contains unimaginably large spoilers for Mr. Robot. If you're not caught up in all of Mr. Robot season 1 through 4, stop watching. So we really need to talk. Season 4, Episode 4, Mr. Robot. I'm going to frame this episode in a specific way, okay? Let's forget all of the theories. Let's forget all of the time travel. Let's forget all of this cloning potential stuff that maybe or may not be happening. Let's just throw all of that out the window for 1 minute, just for a 10-minute discussion here. Hopefully thereabouts. Question I want to pose is, let's assume Tyrell Wellick is dead, right? Are we satisfied with Tyrell's arc as a character? Are we happy with where it went and how it got there? So, this episode was very much seemed to be Tyrell coming to grips with himself and the showrunners giving us a bit of a glimpse into Tyrell's mindset. And I really like how he is very, very introspective in this episode. Like, he is almost envious of Elliot. You can almost see where this adoration that he has for Elliot comes from. Tyrell says, "You don't care at all, do you? Like, there I was, all safe. Your company, the company who you worked for, the most important clients that company had is just walking through the office, and you couldn't give a shit." And Tyrell is jealous of this because he admits, "I do care." He says, "I know why you wear that black hoodie. I know why you wear those black trousers, the shoes. You just don't care. You don't care what people think. It doesn't matter to you." And Tyrell admits that he does care. It's quite a significant moment for the character because it's almost him admitting how superficial he was. How the entire time he's been chasing this goal, this dream of an image. It's fancy suits, it's status, it's symbol. And he cared. He wanted all of that. And he hates how Elliot doesn't care. And I think that's Elliot's power to Tyrell. To Tyrell, the fact that Elliot doesn't care about all of these things it empowers Elliot in a certain way. It detaches him from society and gives him this degree of freedom. The only thing about that is Elliot later on admits that he does care that he's detached from society. It's an interesting thing to think about, and I can't wait to rewatch all of this with the context that we'll have at the very end. But I was watching it, and I started to get Tyrell's dying vibes, I would say when he started to talk about walking off into the sunset, maybe 20 minutes into the episode. Like, "Did you ever feel about leaving it all behind, blah, blah, blah." And I was worried because I didn't think, like, okay, surely they're not going to kill Tyrell now. He has to be there for the Deus Group meeting, and if he's not there for the Deus Group meeting, is it going to be a problem? Is him dying now going to mean the Deus Group won't come to meet up because there's no replacement CEO of E Corp, etc., etc. So this could have very, very significant ramifications. My concern was he will die, and everything will happen on Christmas Day like it was supposed to. And that would kind of make Tyrell's death feel a bit cheap. Don't get me wrong, I loved the send-off. I really enjoyed the send-off, and I thought it was beautiful. The framing of the shot was great. I'll throw up on screen that shot of him walking into the sunset. I saw someone screen capped it, and it was on the front page of the subreddit. I'll just grab that and toss it here, because it is a beautiful shot. Like, visually, it's a great send-off for the character. To me, where I do get concerned is if this doesn't have very large ramifications. If this is kind of one of those things where Tyrell dying is swept under the rug, like how like in episode 2 we got it seems to be that we are getting massive reveals every now and then in each episode, and then that is just completely dropped, and the next episode it just starts in completely new quasi-self-contained story that will end with a punch, but the punch is never explored, and the next episode restarts the process. And I'm concerned that it's going to be the entire season is going to be every single episode. Like, what if Tyrell's death is just never addressed? What if Elliot's third personality is just never addressed? That would be insane, and I don't know. It's almost been reinforced by the show's history in that, remember at the end of season 1, who was knocking at the door? And then the finale of season one happens and, oh yeah, we don't know who is at the door. We skipped the entire 5-9 incident, or Tyrell being missing. Stuff like that. They kind of just, and that stuff is explained, but my point is it's explained much later. And it's not exactly thorough in its explanation. So I do get people's concerns, because Tyrell was completely absent for a full season, essentially. Like, for 90% of season 2, he was just gone. And then season 3, his involvement was very strange. But I think that as long as there's ramifications, like, that don't feel shoehorned, ramifications that feel important, that feel like they make sense, and it just doesn't feel like Tyrell's death was written in because we needed a character death in this part of the show, because, oh, Angela died first episode, so we need to ramp up the character deaths. It's weird to me, because we're now left with who? Dom, Price, White Rose, Darlene, Elliot, and Mr. Robot, but essentially the same person, those last two. So I don't know, that's what, like 4 or 5 characters that we're following. I guess Vera, but I mean in terms of protagonist status. I think Price might have been bumped up to protagonist status this season. We have been seeing quite little of him the last 2 episodes in comparison to the first 2, so I'm not too sure about that. But he's definitely erring on the side of good now. But my point being, I don't necessarily know, like, if they kill off Dom in next episode, or if they kill off Dom in 2 episodes, then we're just left with Mr. Robot, Elliot, Price, Darlene, White Rose. So, like, I don't know, I hope they don't just start killing off. Maybe I saw some people saying online there's been 2 character deaths per episode, as someone was saying on the subreddit. So what if we're getting 2 character deaths every single episode, or 2 people dying every single episode? We know in the first episode it was Angela and what's his face? The guy. Some people were saying that what if the last 2 episodes White Rose and Elliot die? So I don't know. I'm not too fond on that idea. I think just breaking it down to simple patterns is a bit dull to me. Like, ooh, 2 die thing. What does it mean? Unless it's all a status on, violence in television and all, which I think is very interesting. And there is a conversation to be had there, but I don't know if it's the conversation Mr. Robot is trying to have. I don't know, everyone. I don't know. It's just this Tyrell stuff's fucking weird to me. It's really, really weird. And I don't know how to reconcile it. We haven't even started talking about the noise and the purple light. But that is the main question I'm posing to you. Are you satisfied with his arc? Assuming that is the end. Assuming that he is actually dead. Do you think the arc was satisfying as it is? And how do you think future ramifications of his death will, change your view of the finale of his arc? I do wish we got more Tyrell, because he was my favorite character, arguably. I really like Tyrell. Season 1 Tyrell, I think, was one of the best. And I like the progression, how we eventually realized that he's kind of like an audience member in a way. Watching Mr. Robot, he is this view of Elliot, He idealizes him in a way that a lot of, I imagine, viewers do when they shouldn't, because this is a mentally ill person going around committing crimes. So, vigilante justice and all that, but it's still, you know what I mean? It's not something you want to look up, it's someone you want to look up to. And I think that's interesting, kind of putting, he almost becomes a reflection of some of the insufferable Mr. Robot fans, if I was speculating here. The purple light stuff and the noise. So Elliot and Tyrell were both hearing the noise. That's irrefutable. They both kept hearing it. I'm of the belief, or of the assumption, that it's probably just an omen. Tyrell's gonna die. This is the howl of death. It's meant to, be spooky and build up to him finally getting shot. Him getting shot off screen, I was making that assume that they were trying to spook you. I assumed that they were just trying to spook you. They're like, oh no, shots off screen. He's gonna turn around. There's gonna be blood. That's what they think you're thinking. But then he turns around and he's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe he turns around, he's covered in blood, but that's because the guy shot himself and it splattered him. You know what I mean? So that was a bit weird. I won't lie there. That's definitely a bit weird, but The purple light is... I was discussing this with some people online. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I've seen people say some mad stuff about it, like it's time he's found White Rose's time travel, or the project, or it's a deer hunting camera, or something like that. I'm not familiar with, so if anybody knows if the light and all looked familiar to something like that, let me know, because I have no idea. Some people said that. I'm of the belief that it's as simple as it's a representation of his death, is a journey into the afterlife, at the same time being a Pulp Fiction reference. Obviously, that harsh, colored, saturated light shining up on someone looking down with a low shot, looking up at someone, that is an incredibly Pulp Fiction shot. So I just thought it was more of a homage plus symbolic death more than anything else. But I'm willing to eat my words on this. I don't know. It's just weird to me. People have been saying that Angela was shown something with a similar light on the TV, and maybe she was... I don't know. It's so hard to draw any hard conclusions on that purple light. That purple light is just so weird, and I think it's just one of them things, honestly. I don't know if we're meant to be sitting here and thinking, why is the light purple? Does it mean that he's finding it hard to breathe and he's going purple because he can't? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if we're meant to be looking into that too much. But hey, I'm willing to eat my words on all of this. Maybe he did find a television and it was a picture of him getting saved in the future by White Rose, who then turns him into a goat, and they fucking go off on a massive adventure into the land of fucking... I don't know. My point being is, if Tyrell's alive, the show is already going to have done some crazy ass fucking shit for me to buy it. They're going to have to do some really, really out there stuff. They're going to need to say, yes, White Rose is actually a time-traveling soldier who is trying to prevent Skynet from taking over. And then, maybe I can start to believe Tyrell's still alive. But as it stands, if Tyrell comes back, I'm thinking that's pretty poor writing. Unless, as I said, we have gone, full 15. We've dialed it up to 15 on the crazy scale by then. God, that doesn't matter at that stage. Just bring everybody back. Everybody's in Elliot's head, and he's just strapped to a bed the entire time. It's fucking Jacob's Ladder. He's just... If there's some big, massive reveals like that, I don't know. It's gonna be... It'll be ballsy. That's for certain. And there's been hints of weird sci-fi shit throughout the season. I don't know. This video kind of just got turned into a complete and utter mess. But honestly, I think it's an accurate reflection of most people's thoughts after this episode. People are like, I liked it. I like seeing Tyrell and Elliot interact with each other. I am also wishing that the plot would push. Then people are thinking, oh, Tyrell's dead. Was his arc good? Is he coming back? It's so... This season, man. Okay, I'm going to transition into the ending talk right now. Editing Oisin here. From here on out, I only really talk about the structure of the show and how that structure is toyed with and played with. So if you're only here for Tyrell talk, you can stop watching. And I'm going to say this season is fucking weird. And it's not weird in the David Lynch kind of The Return kind of weird. It's not weird in a incredibly out there. It's weird in a structural sense. To give you an example, episode 8 of Twin Peaks The Return, I won't spoil it, but in terms of structure, it is very, very unconventional, to put it mildly. But everything else about it is incredibly unconventional. The visuals, the storytelling, the actual story that's being told. This is all Twin Peaks The Return, episode 8. Right? Part 8, I should say. It's all incredibly weird. Every aspect of it. Whereas in Mr. Robot, it's this weird, grounded hyper-realism where everything is so... the structure of the show itself is just close enough to being a typical, by-the-books, cookie-cutter show. It's so close to it. But then they'll do things like, this is completely ignoring the cinematography and writing, by the way. But then they'll do things like completely ignore that knock on the door and skip 3 days in season 1, and then from season 2 onwards, you're just like, what happened on 5/9? And you're just piecing it all together. From a structural perspective, it's all very strange, and I'm getting that with season 4. They keep setting something up and then they just drop it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, and this is funny because the theory going around right now is that next week's episode is completely silent with 0 dialogue. So what I was about to say is relevant and kind of funny. I'm not going to be surprised if not a single fucking word is mentioned about Tyrell next week. Not a word. Not even referenced. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, we saw Vera, he's gone. I wouldn't be surprised if in episode 8 of this season, Elliot gets a call from Vera saying, oh, by the way, I've been kidnapping and torturing and getting information off of this woman, Krista, for the last, several days or a week or however long time will have passed by then. So it's just this setting something up, dropping it, setting it up, dropping it, it's so fucking weird. Like the third personality thing, set it up, drop it. Vera just shows him that episode. As I said, I'm not going to be surprised if we don't see Vera till near the end of the season again. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. And next week's episode is likely going to have no dialogue. So I don't know how people are going to feel about that. Obviously, from a technical level, from a storytelling perspective, that's going to be a very good achievement. Will it be entertaining? Will it be satisfying as a section in this long-form story that is Mr. Robot Season 1 to 4? Will it fit in? Will it be a satisfying episode as a whole? I don't know. I just really want to get these thoughts out there. It's very jumbled. It's a complete fucking mess. I recognize that. The minimal editing is going to be minimal for this because I don't even remember what I said. But I'll listen back to it now and I'll clean it up for you. Okay, I'll clean it up so it's a bit neater. Either way, give me your thoughts. In particular, I want to know people's thoughts on Tyrell's arc and just the structure of this season and how they, as I say, they set something up, they drop it, blah, blah, blah. It's just so fucking weird. And I want to know your thoughts. Do you think that they're going to be... what do you think of my thoughts on they're just going to drop Vera? They won't have him in it for another 4 or 5 episodes, and they're just going to keep dropping this stuff, and eventually there's going to be a huge reveal that recontextualizes everything. Another huge reveal. I don't know. I have faith in Sam Esmail. I think the knowledge that this was originally a movie script, so he's known where it's been going the whole time, and he knew the end game, hopefully, for each character. I've seen people question that because of Tyrell's arc ending, but I'm going to hold out some faith. Let's not judge it till it's all out. We'll see what we got when we get near the end, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.